My husband skipped our son's first birthday to attend his high school sweetheart's wedding. He said weddings are once in a lifetime, birthdays happen every year. Then he called me dramatic, so I filed for divorce. My husband Craig and I have been married for 3 years. Our son Leo turned 1 on September 14th. I planned his party for 2 months. It wasn't big. Backyard, balloons, a little smash cake, family, and a few friends. Maybe 20 people. I did everything myself. The food, the decorations, the invitations. Craig didn't help with any of it. He said I was overthinking it because Leo wouldn't even remember it. That's not the point. I'd remember it. In August, Craig got a wedding invitation in the mail. It was from a girl named Abby, his high school girlfriend. They dated for 3 years in high school and broke up when they went to different colleges. He talked about her sometimes. Not in a weird way, just stories from back then. I never felt threatened by it. They weren't close anymore. They'd comment on each other's posts once in a while. That was it. The wedding was September 14th, same day as Leo's party. I showed Craig the invitation and said, "Oh, that's too bad. It's the same day as Leo's birthday." He looked at the dates. Then he said, "I think I should go to the wedding." I laughed because I thought he was joking. He wasn't. "Babe, weddings are once in a lifetime. Birthdays happen every year. We can do Leo's party the weekend after." I said no. His birthday is his birthday. I've been planning this for 2 months. People are coming. He said people can come the next weekend. I said I'm not rescheduling our son's first birthday so you can go to your ex-girlfriend's wedding. He got annoyed. She's not my ex. I mean, she is, but that was high school. It's not like that. We're just friends. I said fine, she's your friend, but your son is your son. He should come first. He said I was being dramatic. There's that word, dramatic. He used it 3 more times that week. I'm being dramatic for wanting my husband at our baby's first birthday. I'm being dramatic for not wanting him at his ex's wedding. I'm being dramatic for crying about it in the kitchen at midnight. I stopped arguing. He took that as me agreeing. On September 14th, Craig put on a suit at 10 a.m. Leo's party started at noon. I was in the backyard blowing up balloons with Leo on my hip. Craig came outside and kissed Leo on the head. I'll FaceTime during the cake. He got in his car and drove to Abby's wedding. I threw the party alone. My mom helped. My sister helped. Leo smashed his cake and laughed, and everyone clapped and took pictures. There was one empty chair at the table I'd set for us. My mom didn't say anything about it. My sister pulled me aside and said, "Where's Craig?" I said, "At a wedding." "Whose wedding?" "His ex-girlfriend's." She stared at me. I said, "I know." Craig FaceTimed at 3:15. He was at the reception. I could hear music and laughing. He pointed the camera at Leo on my lap and said, "Happy birthday, buddy." Leo didn't look at the screen. He was playing with wrapping paper. Craig said, "Looks like a great party, babe." I hung up. He came home at 11 that night. He smelled like cologne and champagne. He showed me photos from the wedding on his phone. Him and Abby at the head table. Him and Abby's bridesmaids. Him doing a group dance. Him giving a toast. He gave a toast. At his high school girlfriend's wedding. On his son's first birthday. He looked at me scrolling through the photos and said, "See? It was a great time. You would have loved it." I said, "I need you to listen to me." He put his phone down. I said, "You chose your ex-girlfriend's wedding over your son's first birthday. You left me alone to throw a party for 20 people while you gave a toast and danced at another woman's reception. You FaceTimed for 45 seconds. You came home at 11 p.m. smelling like champagne, and you're showing me photos like I should be impressed." He said, "You're making this bigger than it needs to be." "I'm not making it anything. You made the choice. I just watched you make it." He went to bed. I stayed up. I sat at the kitchen table and looked at the photos from Leo's party on my phone. Every single one had me holding him. Just me. In every photo. The one person who should have been next to me wasn't there because he was slow dancing at a wedding. I called a lawyer Monday morning. Craig didn't know for 2 weeks. He thought everything was fine because I stopped bringing it up. I stopped bringing it up because I was done. When I told him I'd filed, he went white. Over a birthday party? Over you showing me exactly where I stand. You picked her wedding over your son. You picked champagne over cake. You picked a toast for your ex over being in a photo with your kid. That's not dramatic. That's clear. The papers are filed. Leo's smash cake photo is on the fridge. Just me and him. That's enough.
I just found out my ex died from childbirth complications and that we have a baby son together. I missed his birth and his first 2 months because nobody told me he existed. Kara and I dated for almost 2 years. We broke up because she got a job offer in another state and I couldn't go with her. No fighting, no cheating, no drama. We just couldn't make it work with the distance. She moved in April. By May, we stopped texting. By June, it was like we'd never happened. That was it, or so I thought. 9 months later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Kara's older sister, Dawn. She told me 2 things. First, that Kara had a baby boy 6 weeks ago. Second, that Kara died from complications 11 days after giving birth. She said it fast, like she was reading off a list, like she'd rehearsed it so she wouldn't have to feel it twice. I didn't say anything for a long time. Dawn kept talking. She said Kara found out she was pregnant about a month after moving. She thought about calling me. Her family talked her out of it. Her mom told her I'd be a distraction. Her stepdad said if I really cared, I would have followed her. Dawn admitted she agreed with them at the time. They all decided together that Kara could handle it on her own and that I didn't need to know. So Kara went through the entire pregnancy without telling me. Every appointment, every ultrasound, every scare, every kick. She did all of that alone because the people around her convinced her I wasn't worth the phone call. I found out later she almost called me twice. Once at 5 months when she found out it was a boy. Once at 8 months when she got scared about a test result. Both times her mom told her to put the phone down. Both times she listened. Then the baby came. A boy. She named him Eli. The birth went fine at first. Then something went wrong. Bleeding that wouldn't stop. They took her back into surgery. She seemed okay for a few days. Then an infection set in. 11 days after having Eli, Kara died in a hospital bed with her mom holding one hand and her newborn son in a bassinet 2 feet away. And I was at home, 3 states over, watching TV, not knowing any of it. Dawn called me because Kara's mom had a stroke 2 weeks after the funeral. The stepdad was gone, left the day after the burial. Dawn had her own 2 kids and couldn't take on a newborn. Foster care was the next step. She said, "I know we should have told you. I'm calling now because he's your son and he's about to end up in the system." I drove 9 hours straight, didn't pack right, didn't think it through. I just drove. When I got to Dawn's apartment, she opened the door holding a baby in a blue blanket. He was so small. He had Kara's nose and my ears. I know that sounds stupid, but it was the first thing I noticed. Dawn handed him to me and I held my son for the first time. 2 months after he was born, 3 weeks after his mother died, standing in a hallway that smelled like formula and laundry soap. She gave me a folder, birth certificate, hospital records, a list of what he eats, when he sleeps, what makes him cry. She also gave me an envelope. Inside was a letter Kara had written during her last few days in the hospital. She knew something was wrong. She wrote it just in case. It said, "If you're reading this, I'm sorry I didn't call you. They told me it was better this way. I believe believed them. I was wrong. His name is Eli. He's perfect. He looks like you when he's confused. Please don't let him grow up thinking nobody wanted him. I did. I wanted him so much. I sat on Dawn's couch and read that letter 4 times while my son slept on my chest. I didn't cry. I just sat there and tried to understand how an entire pregnancy and birth and death happened without anyone thinking I deserved to know. The first week was the hardest thing I've ever done. I didn't know how to make a bottle without getting air bubbles in it. I didn't know what a swaddle was. I didn't know babies needed to be burped or that they could choke on spit up in their sleep. I called Dawn 11 times in 3 days. I called my mom, who drove down and stayed for 2 weeks. I read articles at 3 a.m. with one hand while holding Eli with the other. I made every mistake you can make. Wrong temperature on the bottle. Put the diaper on backwards twice. Forgot to support his neck once. And my mom looked at me like I'd committed a crime, but I showed up. Every single time he cried, I showed up. That was more than anyone gave me the chance to do for 9 months. I'm writing this 4 months in. Eli is 6 months old now. He laughs when I make a stupid face. He grabs my finger when he's falling asleep. He's healthy, he's growing, and he has no idea what it cost to get here. They decided I didn't matter. Enough to know, but I'm the one who showed up.
At Christmas dinner, my sister's kid said, "Mom says you should serve, not eat." Everyone laughed. I left. Mom texted, "Stay away." I replied about the payments. At Christmas dinner, my sister's 8-year-old shoved his plate toward me and said, "Mom says you should serve, not eat." The whole table laughed. I picked up my coat, walked out, and drove home in silence. That night, Mom texted, "You ruined Christmas. Stay away from us." I replied, "Sure. The mortgage, the insurance, and Nora's tuition payments stay away too." By midnight, 61 missed calls. My sister Nora has treated me like a help since we were kids. I'm the older one. I've always been the responsible one. When Dad left, I was 16, and I picked up a job at a grocery store to help Mom pay bills. Nora was 12 and never had to lift a finger. That dynamic never changed. I'm 34 now. I work as a project manager for a construction firm. I make good money. Nora is 30, works part-time at a boutique, and has 2 kids she can barely afford. For the past 3 years, I've been paying Mom's mortgage, $1,340 a month. Mom went on disability after a back surgery, and her income couldn't cover it. I set up auto pay without being asked because the alternative was her losing the house. I also pay Nora's car insurance, $215 a month. She lost her coverage after an accident and couldn't get a new policy she could afford. I added her to mine. And I pay $400 a month toward Nora's older son's private school tuition because Mom begged me to. Give him a good education, and I agreed. Total, $1,955 a month, $23,460 a year. For 3 years, that's over $70,000. Nobody at that Christmas table seemed to remember any of it. The dinner was at Mom's house. I brought a dish like I always do, green bean casserole. I set it on the table and sat down. Nora was across from me with her 2 boys, ages 8 and 5. Her boyfriend Cliff was next to her. Mom was at the head of the table. Everything seemed fine until Nora's oldest, Jalen, shoved his plate across the table toward me and said, "Mom says you should serve, not eat." The table went quiet for half a second. Then Cliff laughed. Then Nora smirked. Then Mom chuckled and said, "Kids say the funniest things." I looked at Nora. "Did you tell him to say that?" She shrugged. "He's 8. He picks things